All right, so I thought I'd just cut in here and give you guys like a little preview as to what I'm going to be doing, why I'm doing it. I'm just learning this tuning stuff, and I'm pretty much being forced to learn this because I'm getting frustrated with all these shops. You know what the old adage is, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. This car blows up, sucks, but it's on me. The last video you saw me cruising down the interstate and my air fuel ratio wasn't fluctuating. I also learned a few other things. I've been kind of been doing some online courses. Shout out to the tuning school. Whoever says that the online schools or any kind of tuning education is not worth it, beware, because they're probably trying to tell you something, or they're trying to put themselves on a pedestal and put themselves in a position to where you are learning everything from them. It is worth every penny. So far I've probably got like a little over $1,000 involved, and no, probably about $1,500, but worth every penny. I have learned so much, and so much makes so much more sense. I know it's a lot of so's, but I mean it. So shout out to the tuning school. As a matter of fact, I'll leave a link, as well as I'm going to leave a link for everything that I'm using here today. And I'm going to be going with the AEM 30-0300. And the reason I went with the X was it is the fastest responding. I only have short band. Narrow band is what they call it in the tuning world. Just the front two O2 sensors. That's all I've got. Getting a quality air fuel ratio in there, extremely crucial. Let me pull this out here. You're gonna get, show you right there, that is the gauge. You can, this is programmable. I like the black. You can buy like a silver bezel to go. I don't think it's really worth it. I don't think it's really necessary, but I like the black. Does have a nice bright big LED display, and it will produce lambda and or AFR, whatever you guys are into. Pretty simple. They have really made it real simple as far as plug and play. There is one wire where I will say that you're gonna have to select a few wires, but other than that, you know, you can see it is still, you know, you got that hard shell to plug into the back of the gauge. You do get a new oxygen sensor bung in the pack, and you get some butt connectors to, like I said, splice for the other wire. And then in also comes, you're gonna get an oxygen sensor, and this oxygen sensor, part of the 4.9 volt. There is a 4.2 wide band, and you'll pretty much notice that anything, you know, 4 wires or up is what they consider a wide band. So I don't know if you can count them there. This one's got 5. They have a 4.2 volt older version, still a wide band, but this one's supposed to be like a lot more shock resistant. And I'll kind of go into it here in just a little bit, but when you first start your car, it's what they consider open loop. And it's open loop because these things have to heat up. I'll have to do like a super short, simple versions. When the valve opens and closes, it produces what they call a pulse. Now the pulse is coming down the header into the collector, down the exhaust pipe, and then out to the muffler and the tailpipe. These things are very sensitive to pressure changes. So if you get burble tunes, if you do like a flame tune, if you do any kind of anything that's going to produce like a big pressure or temperature swing, you're susceptible to damaging these. But the new 4.9 volt, these are supposed to be a lot tougher. So, but they're not indestructible. So you know, that's something to take into consideration. And I will say this, I had to go get some new welding gas. Did give me a new sticker. I don't know how many horsepower that is, but definitely picked a few up there. But it also comes with like a QR code to download for instructions to install. And there's so much information with these online. There's a couple other companies that make, like Innovate, I think it's PLX. I didn't want to go with a dual band or a dual wide band setup, one for each bank. I think one, probably like the driver's side bank, is enough to get the data that I'm gonna need. But I will say this, that I want to put the wideband in and leave it. You can remove the oxygen sensor, put the wideband in, screw that wideband sensor in, run your gauge, do your tuning or whatever, but I kind of want to be able to watch my AFR all the time, because especially on the Gen 5, the LTs, those of you people that don't know, when you floor the car, hit wide open throttle, the car will actually go back into open loop. So it does not watch the oxygen sensors upstream or downstream. So this is very, very crucial to have one of these. And when it sees wide open throttle 100%, like I said, kicks into open loop, it disregards everything that the oxygen sensors have to say about what is going on as far as the air fuel. So it has its own tuning settings baked into the ECM as far as what your tuner sets. So I am going to be pulling probably the driver's side header down. You do get a new bung, and I will say this, see that little shoulder? That little shoulder makes it kind of nice because you can take, and I'll show you here just a little bit, you can take a step drill bit, drill your header, sorry, I didn't mean to bump my mic, drill your header, weld it. I'm going to be using MAP gas to heat this up, because if you look how chunky the sidewall is on that, this bung is way thicker than what my header is. So I'm going to be using MAP gas. That's MAP. It's in a yellow bottle. Propane's good. Propane has its own usage, but MAP gas is a little bit better. I think MAP gas gets you up to about 1500 degrees. You know, I don't know how, I wouldn't say, you know, it's probably 200,000. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'm just eyeballing at this point. I'm going to need to preheat this, because on my welder, I do not have a preheat setting. And I was only, because I didn't want to buy like a big spool of it, stainless. I'm going to be MIG welding stainless in. So I had to settle for some 030 wire. So I need to preheat it. I need to preheat the header, and I need to preheat the bung in order to have my weld penetrate nice and deep. That way I don't get any leaks, because any leaks in this weld is going to cause an inaccurate reading in data, and that's BAD. My welding gas, for those of you that want to MIG stainless steel, I'll give you a shortcut. If you can get your hands on some tri-blend, I think it's like 90% helium, 8% argon, I can't remember, I think the other 2% is like CO2. That's the best. I did have to settle for some Stargon, because I wasn't a commercial business or whatever. I wasn't a big welding outfit. So my welds will come out with like a little black burn to them, but they told me it'll wipe right off. So they said that that's just the CO2, but I did get some Stargon, which if I look it up here, I'll put them up on the screen for you. If not, then, you know, just go in there and tell me you just need a bottle of Stargon. You'll be able to MIG stainless and mild steel. So Camaro 6 gauge pods, ZZ Performance. Wow. My hat's off to you, because I did run across a nice A-pillar dual pod. These do house, I believe the 52 millimeter does have a little recess cutout for the microphone. There's two metal clips that they talked about reusing off of the OE piece. Other than that, this really does emulate the texture, feel, color. It's really close. High quality piece for like $100. Like I said, for both of these, I will leave an Amazon link. Yes, I do get a cut. So I'm gonna wrap this part up. I head down the garage. We'll get this stuff all installed. Maybe we'll get to review it today. Got everything. Everything's a little bit of a mess. Finally got it in. So hang on, let me get a pre-welding. That's what it is. Oh, beautiful. That thing just fit, didn't it? Mm-hmm. We're running out of daylight here, so we're gonna get this welded together, but yeah, that looks freaking great. right, there you go. That's it. It's finished product. Just want to get it to where those welds will not leak. You don't see any pinholes in it. And that bad boy is good enough to put back in the car. So what I have chosen is one, here's how I'm going to tap into the power. Now this is a bigger, I bought a variety pack, but this is going to be a proper fuse tap. So you're going to put your fuse for whatever circuit you're adding on top, and then you're going to pull said fuse out and you're going to put it in the bottom, and then you're going to plug this whole thing into the fuse box and then route it out the corner. You look, I already have one. So I'm not a big fan of this, but what I did find through just a little circuit tester, just a 12-volt light, find out which are dead. So you want the key on, engine off. So pretty much whatever, you just want to push the button and then you want power to that circuit. You only need 5 amps, so it's not going to be that much, but so pretty much I have chose that right here. This is an F57. I'm sorry, F55. This is your fuel pump prime. So when your car sits for more than 4 hours, thereabout, and you hit the unlock button or you touch the door handle, anything to do with the car, you can hear the fuel pump energize. This is that fuse right here. Now the ignition fuse is already a 5 amp. Like I said, that's already being tapped into. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use this. Okay, I forgot to add on these last few wires. I'm gonna have to run an extension. For now, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use the sound tube delete area. I've already pulled the port, 10mm nut. I'm gonna route the wires down to my fuse box, and then I'm going to extend the wires from the pillar all the way down through the sound tube and down to the fuse box as well. The wires that come in this kit, you're only really gonna need to worry about, obviously the red is hot, black is ground, and then the blue is going to be for the serial output, or I'm sorry, the output serial for the wideband, so I can use it in HP tuners and bring it into my laptop. So those 3 wires are the only ones that you're gonna have to worry about, period. These other 4 are pretty much, so if you're gonna daisy chain, or if you're going to run like an aftermarket CAN bus that AEM offers, you're gonna need those 4 wires, but I am not, and I have no interest for them in the future, so I'm gonna get rid of them. The blue I'll use at a later date, and right now I'm just gonna hook up the red and black. So I'll show you when it's done. There's a weird thing in between the shutter speed and cameras, and it seems like LCD or just like, you know, headlights in general, how they have like that flickering effect. So I'm not sure if it's gonna come up on my phone or on the GoPro. So I'm just gonna show you guys right here real quick. This is what it looks like installed. It's all good. I do already have it set up on Lambda. I ordered the silver bezel because I saw online that it says it said Lambda on it. So I'm like, oh, I kind of want that. I didn't realize it was out of focus there. So that faceplate, I'm just gonna have to live with air-fuel ratio. I'm not sure if it says Lambda if I take the faceplate off and flip it around. I don't know, whatever. But it does the job, looks good now. I do have it set up on Lambda right now. 1 is the perfect burn. I'll get into all of this at a later date because You don't want one. It's yeah, like I said, that's another video, another day, but it is set up pretty good. These direct injection engines, you can run a little bit leaner. So anything above 1's going to be lean. Anything below 1 is going to be on the richer side. There's a lot of evidence that supports that you want it on the richer side. I've seen a lot of data, a lot of dyno runs, running lean, running rich. You don't get any more power by running lean. So that theory of everybody saying, you know, you want to lean it out, make a bunch of power, that's all 100% false. And if you want to challenge me on it, that's fine, but just make sure that you've got a working microphone and a working camera, because we're going to live stream that. Temperature is what you want to think about or associate your mind with when it comes to air-fuel ratio. Pretty much, if you want to run it richer, it comes down to, you ever heard the term cylinder quenching or head quenching or just quenching in general? That's what that is. Kind of helps keep everything cool and check. Man, it is freaking hot in here. Turn the heat off. But that's it. I did order the OBD2 pod. Online it said that it read ethanol content, and that's what I wanted. So I'm like, oh man, okay. And it matched my gauges. So I'm on the hunt again for another ethanol content, but I double checked my tune, HP tuners, the flex fuel portion is turned on. So it is what it is, but this gauge, it does quite a few things. Right now I've got it set on fuel pressure. You can see, like right now, it'll tell you when it's open loop, closed loop. Obviously it's closed right now. It'll do ignition timing. So if you if you rev, it'll tell you exactly where your ignition timing's at. Now, how accurate this stuff is, I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. It's coming from the same place that your freaking HP tuners is, so it's got to be somewhat accurate. I just don't know how fast this gauge is. So I mean, it does lots of stuff. Long-term fuel trim, bank 1, bank 2, engine load. It does short-term fuel trim 1 and 2. I don't know what that is. It does, I can't remember what. A lot of this is just garble. Like what is that? But I know that's vehicle speed. That was supposed to be a vehicle speed sensor. So if you want to do, your speedometer right off of that, you can do it. It'll tell you your battery voltage, what your alternator is charging at. Mine's charging at 13.8. It's not gonna stay. It's not its permanent home, but it sure looks a lot better than an empty hole. So I got a good deal on it. Somebody returned it and it was pretty much like new, and now I know why they returned it, but it will get replaced. But right now it does serve a pretty good focus. Right now it does serve a pretty good purpose, so I'll keep it for now. So anyways, basically what I want to do right now, if this dang thing will freaking focus, I have a couple suspicions on why it's so lean. It's not real lean, it's just on the leaner side. Again, direct injection engines, you can run lean, so that's not really a big deal. I'm not really concerned with it. I would like to see, obviously you can see it's freaking raining out today, so, but it's my only day to film, so I want to get a video out for you guys, and this has been like weeks in the making, so I've had to get this car apart and then order parts, so I wanted to get this done for you guys. So I want to move on to the next thing, and I wanted to get just a short POV drive. I wanted to get at least one pull in, because the wide open throttle part is where it's going to get interesting, because that's where it's going to tell me if it is running lean or rich. Like I said, once these engines see that it is, I'm gonna open the door here so you can like I said, when you floor this car, or once the car sees that you're wide open throttle, I hate it when people say watt. It sounds so fucking dumb. I just hate it. Watt sounds like electricity. When the car sees wide open throttle, it goes blind. It cuts off the fuel sensors and all of that good stuff. So yeah, I just want to get a good reading on this, so let's get on the road, and then I will pull over again, we'll wrap things up, and we'll call this a day. I am for sure turning traction back on, so I don't know how that's showing up. It's gonna flicker. Oh man, that's all right. I just want to check this thing out, see how accurate it is. Like I said, the X gauge is as fast as a gauge I could get from AEM, and I went with AEM because out of all the wide bands, they've been around the longest. I mean, pretty much since I was a kid, this company's been around, and as long as like I've been in the car tuning game, this company's been doing it, and they've been at the top, so I do trust them. They also was a really good price on all this stuff, so you're talking about $200 per gauge. I mean, less than, and that's with the wideband sensor, all of it, the whole nine, everything. Would I like to have like changing colors and stuff? Yeah, but for the price, I'm not gonna bitch. And it does serve a purpose. Now, if you'll notice, like, I got rev match on here. Now, if you get up, I'd say past like 2,000, and then you let off, you'll notice it'll be like dash, 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 dash. That is only happening because if you look at the tables in your HP tuners, and it'll tell you, or actually like towards the upper portion, you'll see negative numbers. That's where my timing is dipping into negative numbers, and it's cutting fuel out. So that's all that is when it's doing that right there. This is gonna be essential. If you're gonna be tuning your own car, or if you're gonna be taking your car to a tuner, this is essential, most important piece of equipment. And I'm telling you, go with the 4.9. Like I said earlier, it's the tougher sensor, wideband, you're gonna get the most accurate reading. I'm gonna be trying to do street tuning with this, so I'm gonna try to find, it's dipping down in the 9s, 0.9. I can live with that, man, for sure. I think I can live with that. That's really not that bad. Plus, I did buy the ProLink cable, so we'll be integrating that into the whole equation. So when I have my laptop and everything on the side here, I can be able to hook, I want to hook my methanol and my wideband into the whole HP tuners, the whole tuning experience, whatever you want to call it, man, because I'm tired of like having this over here and that over there, and you know, flip-flopping back and forth. So the HP tuners, that ProLink cable, I was wrong about it when I first got HP tuners. I thought it was a way to more securely fasten to the MPVI3. It's not. It allows you, so I'm gonna need both ports. It allows you to bring everything into your laptop. That way, you know, it's a one-stop shop. You can tune everything, you can watch everything, control everything right through your HP tuners. That's the way to go. It looks like it's not running too bad. I wouldn't be like weirded out by the light, the colors. I would say that this is more set up for like a tune port or port injection engine. When you're installing these things, you gotta know what you're doing and what you're looking for. Looks like I'm gonna have fucking Grandpa driving Mr. Daisy up here, so I'm gonna pull over here. Okay, get shut off here, recline my seat back up here. All right, so guys, I just want to wrap up real fast here. I just made some notes, a couple notes on my phone. The 30-0300 UEGO, that stands for Universal Exhaust Gas and Oxygen Sensor. This is not car specific. This is not CAN bus specific. This is nothing. This is a universal, must be an airplane, wideband. So you can pretty much put this on anything. So as you saw, that was Chad welding my bung in. Yes, I can weld. That is my machine, that is my welder. So for those of you that are like, oh, you can't do it, you know, no. The thing is, I told him I couldn't find my welding helmet, so I want to shout out Chad. Thank you. Before, I was gonna put him back on camera and have him, you know, thank him on camera, but I want to give a big shout out to Chad. He welds for a living, so it shaved off a lot of time because his hand muscle memory is dialed in, so he was able to get in there and just really fry the bung in, no problem. Like I said, it'd probably take me a couple hours to get back in the swing. Welding is, I've done a lot of it, but it's been a couple years and I couldn't find my welding helmet, so Chad stepped up and said, hey, you know, it ain't gonna take that long. I'll bring my helmet home from work and I'll fry it in for you. So I graciously accepted and thank him for it. The sensor, 4.9, I already said before, go with the 4.9. Between the 4.2 and the 4.9, always choose the 4.9. It's a Bosch sensor, so through AEM they're like $100. Now if you can find what they are with the correct D style connector, those, it's a smart idea to have a spare one on hand, because like I said, they go bad. You can just unscrew it under there and then freaking screw a new one right back in and be back on the road within minutes. So I'll probably be having a spare one on hand as soon as I find what they are off of, like a OEM. Typically you can get them at any auto parts store for like 40-50 bucks. So half price, I'm gonna be looking for that. So as soon as I know, you will too. You know, Camaro is what it is. We kind of got screwed, but not really. I mean, ZL1, when this car came out, it was like 61 grand. I think coming out 2024, they were still like 67, I want to say 68, I don't know, whatever. The car ended less than $70,000 MSRP, 650 horsepower, 650 foot-pounds of torque. And I've already talked and touched on how beefed up and overrated this car is. So it is way more overrated and beefed up than Mustang or Challenger or Charger ever thought about being. You know, there's going to be a couple weak links where we just lose out on, and the wideband, narrowband oxygen sensors is one. I think, I'm not mistaken, you'll have to reach out to Paragon and see it, ask them for the final say, but I do believe that the C8 Corvette comes out factory with the wideband like this. So the ECM is able to read, I think, on Challenger, Charger, and Mustang as well, but not Camaro. We kind of got hosed, but you know, in a way, we got ELSD and we got, you know, this transmission's 1,000 foot-pounds ready from the factory, so I can put in a $200 and some wideband kit. That's no big deal at all. So to mount the sensor itself, the collector or a turbo, 6 inches past that. That's gonna be your best place in the stream. Obviously, the further back, the worse the reading gets. Don't go right by the collector where the narrowband is, close in proximity, because especially like on this header, there's like a spoiler where all the, you know, the collectors come 4 into 1, and you want that mixture, and you want like at least a couple inches. Okay, never mind. Just got a notification, my groceries just got delivered. It's raining out and they're sitting right outside my door, so I'm gonna have to wrap this up because I'm heading that way. So as I was saying, 6 inches past the collector, you want to make sure that the gases have enough time to mix up, that way you're getting an accurate reading. Also, the mounting location, you want to do anywhere from like a 45, anywhere. They're saying positive, so this would be like 0. They want to say anywhere positive 10 degrees, so you want to have a slight tilt. The reason you want to do that is not because of like sound pressure or pulses or whatever, or anything that might be flowing through the you know, the gases anyways, but they're doing that because of moisture. Engine gets hot, engine gets cold, so the condensation is going to be flowing through there, and you don't want that gravity to get moisture down inside that oxygen sensor. So make sure you have at least a positive 10 degrees up to a 90. Also, one more thing to do with the oxygen sensor is you cannot extend the wires on it. You might be able to extend the harness after you would call AEM, but like I showed you before when I was holding it and displaying, or you know, when I was showing it to you at home, it's got a resistor in it. How sensitive or whatever it's checking for, voltage, amperage, current, whatever drop, I'm not sure of, but I would not risk it. And especially if that thing's like $100, $110 and I can't find one factory, that's not really, it's not really worth it to extend it. I would try to extend the other harness. But I'm gonna say the main harness that plugs from the back of the gauge into the actual oxygen sensor itself, it's really long. I had to coil a bunch of it up under the footwell, and I left it. I did not video it because I wanted you guys to find your own way. You'll figure out where to tuck it because everybody's situation is going to be a little different. I went through the sound tube. Now, not every car is going to have a sound tube, especially 5th gen Camaros, 4th, 3rd, you know, all of them. If you want to install this on a, you know, anything other than a 6th gen, might not have a sound tube, just make sure whatever you do is waterproof, including the connectors that you put tapping into the positive and the negative, because I use that jump post sticking off of the frame there, because whatever you use for negative, you're gonna have to scratch the paint off of, and I didn't want to go grinding paint off of stuff just for, so it's a 20 gauge wire. I just used the little ring terminal under the hood. Like I showed you that power tap that I used. Just make sure you use the weatherproof butt connectors. That way you can take a heat gun, boop, boop, zip them down, and then it shrinks around that wire watertight. Should be good to go until it gives you problems. Until then, use it. Like I said, it's a very, very handy tool. I've been kind of driving mine around a little bit, you know, checking different loads, RPM ranges. It's cool to see what the engine's actually, well, you can't see what the engine's doing, but you can see like what the engine is producing as far as like exhaust gases and everything. So like I said, it's a good tool, but I'm gonna leave it there. Make sure that you guys subscribe, like the dang video on your way out, check me on Rumble, follow me on Patreon, because once I start getting Patreon supporters, man, this thing is really, I'll be start posting over there and we'll be hanging out. So you guys know what to do. Take care. We'll see you guys on the next one.